Hi guys, I'm back with another video, and today I want to share some tips to help you save more than $100 every single month. That can either go to your fun spending, your investments, or your savings. So let's get on with it. I'm a family of two, but most of these tips that I'm going to share with you today are all the habits that I've started and that I've continued over maybe 5-7 years that I was living alone as a student and as a new grad. Come to think of it, it was a lot of like my own buildup of habits that have helped me to where I am today. Sometimes a friend would be like, wow, you save that much, or wow, you can save on this kind of stuff. Like, I didn't know that hack. So I just wanted to share some of these tips out to you guys. And if there's anything that you're like, oh, I save in these areas, but you didn't mention it, just leave them in the comment down below. First, make sure that you utilize all the sales that's going on at different grocery stores. And the one thing that they all have in common is that they have weekly sales ads. Each week when I'm just kind of like thinking, oh, what am I gonna eat this week? What am I gonna meal prep? I try to see what is on the weekly ad list, and I incorporate that to my meal plans. So, for example, if oranges and apples are on sale this week, I'll have that as breakfast. Sometimes there'll be pasta, or sometimes there'll be like chicken, tenderloin, ground beef. So just kind of depending on what the weekly store ads have, that's kind of like where I'll go off of it, and that's how I'll make my inspiration meals for that week. And it's nice because I'm getting new ideas. I can make new dishes by utilizing the sale items on the list. And I strongly recommend using Aldi or Lidl if you have one in your area. 2 bags of groceries at Aldi, I'm only like buying 17 worth of groceries, whereas if I go to Meijer or Kroger, 2 whole bagfuls of groceries can be even like $40. And these help me save here and there when I'm grocery shopping. The second tip is cut down on your delivery apps. I, for one, do not have an account with Grubhub, DoorDash, or whatever delivery app you name it. And I used to in college. Back then, I would just kind of mindly spend like $20, $30, and I didn't know it would just pile up like that. Because I don't have the account, I don't have the temptation to go click on it to browse through whatever is like tempting me at 12 a.m. at midnight. So cutting off that entire outlet is more helpful than like, oh, I gotta resist the temptation of ordering. One tip, I guess, to help you is always keep like small handy snacks around home, daily backpack, so that you can kind of resist the temptation of buying like an extra bag of chips or extra bag of candy. You can just dig into your backpack and get, for example, like a granola bar or tangerines, orange, apple. For all that matters, it's gonna resist that temptation of you wanting to purchase something outdoors. Next, I try to see if there's any like cheaper option of doing the same thing. For, let's say, movies, I tend to usually go out on Tuesday nights instead of on a Saturday. And where I live, you can watch a movie for $5, and it also includes a bag of popcorn too. And it's a deal when you compare it. Let's say you decide to watch a movie on a Saturday, and that's like $12 plus popcorn, that's like an extra like $7. You're already at like $18 to $20. So this is kind of one tip that I use. For example, when I go to watch musicals, I love watching Broadways. And so a few weeks before, or even just a days before, you can always enter your name in for a lottery system that just draws your name in like very randomly. So usually it'll come out to like $50, $60 per ticket, which is a crazy deal. Usually I tended to luck out on the weekdays instead of on the weekends. So just keep this in mind. And if you have some time flexibility and you don't really care where you're gonna end up watching the show, then this is a good deal to save, but also get the entertainment that you actually want. Today I want to introduce you guys to Mint Mobile, who is our sponsor for today's video. Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. And I'm personally a huge fan of Mint Mobile. I've been using it for 4 years now. You can get high-speed data and unlimited wireless for just $15 a month. There's a lot of options to switching to Mint Mobile. You can bring your own phone. You can also bring your current number, which is great, so that people can still keep track of you. It's really easy to switch services. You can basically sign up and activate your own Mint eSIM just today. And if your phone isn't eSIM compatible, Mint Mobile will ship out a physical SIM card for free. So let's just do the simple math. Usually, if you want to get a premium wireless, it ranges from like a 45 to a 65 per month in other carriers, and just multiply that by 12. With all the plans at Mint Mobile, you can basically prepay for a 12-month plan, which is gonna save your ass. Honestly, just having this 12-month plan just go out of my bank account is a huge lifesaver because I don't have to worry about it in the continuous months I have. Personally, I've been just using the $15 a month, which has a wireless data for 5 gigs, not unlimited. But this has enabled me to really be on top of things because I try not to waste my wireless when I'm outside. So I'm more prone to read, to actually interact with people, and I just download hour-long music on my own iPhone, and I just listen to that over and over in my commute. And actually, you'll be surprised at how much 5 gigs is because we rarely spend all of that. And unless we're going to a new place every single day, we're rarely on the GPS. So it's mainly music and sometimes for maybe YouTube when you're not at home. But we have Wi-Fi at our homes and cafes constantly. So I would advise to go with the minimum plan, just $15 a month, 5 gigs a month. If that is too little for you, then upgrade from there on. Don't just go on, oh, I want wireless and just go all in, but start with the minimum and I'd advise you to go up incrementally like that. The next tip is save first, spend later. For a lot of people, it goes the other way around. Whatever you're spending, that should not matter with how much you're putting into savings. If you're spending more this month, just make sure you have the same amount put into your savings and spend a little less next month. And the next tip is always check over what your monthly subscriptions are. A lot of people don't check their checking account much, and especially ones that they haven't used in a long time. But make sure you really keep track of all the credit cards that you use, all the checking accounts that you have, and make sure there's no like annual or monthly subscriptions that's going out without you knowing. For insurances like car insurance, I usually like to pay it upfront because if you do a monthly incurring deposit, then you are paying a little bit of a premium on top of it. It's kind of like a interest rate. You feel like you're paying, the same amount each month, but when you actually calculate the 6-month lump sum upfront fee versus the monthly fees incurring for 6 months, you're paying maybe like $50 to $100 more when you're paying monthly. So if you have the resources, then I recommend paying everything, most things upfront. The next tip I like to use for myself is when anything is maybe over $50 or $100, think about it for at least 3 days to a week, sometimes a month if it goes over like $500. And when I keep thinking about it after 3 days, a week, and I buy it, then I usually have made the right decision. When the feeling of, ooh, I want that just kind of disappears after a few days, I don't think about it. And basically it's something that I wouldn't have utilized well, wouldn't have needed. There's a lot of things that you want, especially when you're scrolling down your Instagram, YouTube, or when you're meeting like a group of friends and they've had a recent purchase on something, you're more like, ooh, I want that kind of. You have that feeling of like, ooh, I wish I had that, or I can buy that. Should I go get it? In those cases, it was most helpful to me to kind of keep a cool mind for at least 3 days before I go out and purchase the same thing. Stop all your subscribes from all these emails, newsletters, and all these sale items. So every year, I think I was always like so mesmerized by the word sale. Buying something that you need when it's on sale is really nice. But buying something that you don't need on a sale item is just another temptation, is another just unmeaningful purchase that's just gonna clutter your room. Even if I see something on sale, I ask myself, would I buy this full price? And my purchase depends on my answer. Always be a little more mindful when purchasing anything below like $5. I wouldn't even know that it was gone from my bank account. When you purchase it every day, that's $150. All of these do add up over time. So just be mindful browsing over Temu or AliExpress when you're at Five Below or the dollar store or even at the grocery checkout lines. So I try to just shut my eyes at the end counter where I'm entering the grocery lines, and that's really been helpful for me. The next tip is really utilize your community and your secondhand selling and buying experience. I don't want to force anyone who's like, oh, I don't want anything secondhanded. Like, sure, if that's not your thing, don't do it. But if you're okay with that, and which is something that I've utilized so well for like the last 8 years, I loved like vintage shopping, I love thrift shopping, and I got a lot of like clothes, dishes, or furniture from Facebook Goodwills and like Salvation Army. When I'm buying something secondhanded online, it just kind of feels like I'm giving the item, the furniture, a second chance to live. So it's kind of been more of like a fulfilling moment rather than just, oh, save money, money, money. I think this is something that I will do regardless of like cutting costs. And through these experiences, I keep realizing something that is not right for me can always be something in need for someone else. And since selling things online is actually a bit of like an extra hustle, I think I tend to be a little bit more mindful in what I'm bringing into my house, what I'm purchasing, so that I don't have to have that extra hustle of sending it away when I don't use it any longer. And the last step I want to also share is keep track of where your money is going, and I mean, do that manually. So whether you have like an iPad or maybe it's just like an application on your phone, I tend to use Weeple Money, and this is something that I've used since I was in middle school, and it's been more of like a diary keeping format for me, where I spend it, who I did it with, where I went. But doing this every day, every week is actually like a mindful practice for me to see how I've spent my money, my resources, and my time over the month. And sometimes I just like going back and forth and see how I'm changed over time, which month had like the big expenses, and I get to reflect on what my good purchases were and what my worst ones were. Thank you for listening, and I will be back with another video. Bye.